One more time, namaste and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Malvika Subba. I'll be hosting the two-day Power Summit 2019, Powering the Asian Century. So welcome to the inaugural session. Our distinguished guests are already here. We would just like to remind you, if you have downloaded the mobile app of Power Summit 2019, you'll be sent a password. You can log in right away. If you haven't done that, please do it right away, as there'll be a lot of real-time updates happening there. At the same time, you can schedule your meetings there. We also have a meetings room available for B2B meetings. Now, we have more than 600 participants from all over the world, the largest delegation being from India, Bangladesh, and China. So this year's Power Summit 2019 is organized by Independent Power Producers Association of Nepal, Ministry of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation in association with Embassy of India, Embassy of Republic of Bangladesh, supported by Nepal Electricity Authority, knowledge partner is Deloitte, and our associates are CNI, FNCCI, Nepal Engineers Association, YCNC, Nepal Tunneling Association, Nepal Hydropower Association. Now, to begin with, I'd like to introduce to you our distinguished guests for the inaugural session. Please welcome our chief guest for today, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation, Government of Nepal, Barshaman Pun. We have with us guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Economic Affairs, Royal Government of Bhutan, Loknath Sharma. We have with us our keynote speaker, Honorable Minister of State for Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, Mr. Nasrul Hamid. His Excellency, Ambassador of India to Nepal, Manjeev Singh Puri. The Country Manager of World Bank Nepal, Faris H. Haddad Havos. Our Chief Investment Officer of FMO, Linda Brookhuizen. Our President of IPAN, Shailendra Guragai, as well as our Vice President of IPAN, Kumar Pandey. To begin with, we'd like to begin with the national anthem of Nepal. I'd like to request everyone to please stand up.
सार्वभौम फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सायो थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आचल वीरहरूका रगतले स्वतन्त्र अटल ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तराई पहाड हिमाल अखण्ड यो प्यारो हाम्रो मातृभूमि नेपाल बहु जाति भाषा धर्म संस्कृति छन् विशाल अग्रगामी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय नेपाल.
Thank you, everyone. We also have translations available today. I hope that you did take the headsets before you entered the event hall. From Nepali to English is channel 1, and from Chinese to English is channel 2. So we have a jam-packed session of 2 days for the Power Summit 2019. As I'm sure you've already seen the schedule for today, we have 4 sessions lined up for today. Now, the Power Summit 2019 will explore avenues of cooperation as well as the legal, regulatory, and infrastructure requirements to come up with technical solutions for expanding our supply, consumption, and optimizing our resources. We are mindful that billions of dollars of investment will be required for increasing generation, extending transmission, and expanding distribution. And we also hope that with all the delegates that have arrived from all over the world, it will definitely be a fruitful Power Summit 2019. Now, to begin with our inaugural session, I would like to request the President of IPAN, Shailendra Guragai, to welcome you all.
Honorable Minister, Chief Guest of this event, Minister Barshaman Pun, Minister from Bangladesh and Bhutan, Excellencies, distinguished guests and participants. welcome to the Power Summit 2019. On behalf of the Independent Power Producers Association of Nepal, IPAN, it is a real honor to have this opportunity to welcome you to this milestone event for the Nepal power sector. We are very excited that we are meeting here at the critical time when we are setting our goal on the Asian energy market, which is a big departure from the days when we are discussing how to end power outage. This is the historical moment when we all need to set our sight on the future. The future that we seek is about abundant, reliable, clean, and affordable power that is traded across boundaries, helping boost the local economies and the quality of life of the people. Investment require market, and the market are needed to attract investment. This is the core of the agenda we have set for the Power Summit 2019. We want to find ways that means of powering the Asian century. Further, with the firm belief that the power sector could not progress without private sector engagement, we took the initiative, we mobilized resources, built power plants, and gathered the needed experience to be ready to gather at this Power Summit 2019. We want to now find ways to work across the Asian market and grow along with the economic growth of Asia. The journey to get to where we are today has not been easy or straightforward. We have many lessons to share, and we really want this summit to be the place where we help each other and the entire power sector move forward. Our experience, good and bad, will help us to succeed in attaining the future. Everyone attending this summit has a critical place of the power sector puzzle. We need to work together and contribute to our common prosperous future. We are very excited and we are energized. On behalf of Independent Power Producers Association of Nepal, IPAN, once again, welcome to this Power Summit 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shailendra Guragaisa. So Nepal sits on a huge potential that can be developed only if you leverage investments and open new markets across Asia. And the Power Summit has been designed to do so as of how we can develop and see what we can do with that. Now, we'll be inaugurating the Power Summit video, and for the same, I would like to request our chief guest for today, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation, Government of Nepal, Barsaman Pun.
Welcome to this historical event that is going to set the vision for Nepal and the energy sector and articulate the way forward in positioning Nepal's energy sector to power the Asian century. In every country's history, there are rare times when big opportunities appear. These chances do not come up frequently, and the window does not stay open for a long time either. Nepal is experiencing a major paradigm shift in its energy sector. We're witnessing accelerated development leading to dramatic changes. From 18 hours daily power cuts to energy surplus, from 1,000 megawatts in last 100 years to 5,000 megawatt. All this has transpired over the last few years, and we will continue to augment hydropower generation. With potential of more than 100,000 megawatt, Nepal is all set to unleash its latent hydro resources for the regional market. Our hydropower can be a viable alternative for our neighbors who have high dependency on fossil fuels. The Asian economy and the quality of life of billions of Asians are improving. There are projections that show 1 billion Asians will be leading a healthy and prosperous lifestyle and consuming energy that matches the current North American and European levels. The question we are asking is, with what form of energy will Asia produce the needed services and products for them? Nepal sits on a huge hydropower potential. Nepalese have a long-standing aspiration to become citizens of a prosperous country. Water is one of the resources that we have, and over the past decades, we have gathered enough information, knowledge, and the experience to take to scale the generation and distribution of clean hydropower in Nepal and beyond. Clean energy from Nepal's hydropower potential needs to be the preferred energy for Asia. We need to move away from fossil fuels that are polluting and contributing to the climate crisis. Nepal aspires to be the powerhouse for the Asian century. Nepal will benefit from a prosperous Asia, and we want to contribute clean energy for its growth. We have a historical opportunity to create a win-win situation. We cannot sit back and miss this opportunity. This is why we have organized the Power Summit 2019. This platform is serving to bring together all those who share the vision for a prosperous Nepal. We have the collective mission to enable Nepal to power the Asian century. During this Power Summit, we shall network, we shall form alliances, we shall find ways to work together to succeed. We will determine what needs to be done and how we shall go about doing it. The major areas we seek breakthrough in include cross-border trade and connectivity, transmission line construction, understanding the domestic and regional energy markets. Share experiences, learn about how to make the power sector inclusive and sustain production. Explore the best ways to finance power projects. Go with a clear understanding of federalism and its implication on the energy sector. Discuss harmonizing regulations to enable success. The Power Summit is not simply a two-day event, but the beginning of a process to ensure success. Our mission will not be easy. We shall work hard and work smart. With a clear vision, strategy, and a teamwork, we are determined to succeed. We will implement the outcomes of this summit. We want to thank you for joining us at this important and historical milestone on our journey to success. We are determined to enable Nepal to power the Asian century. Welcome to the Power Summit 2019.
What a way to start with a very powerful Power Summit video of 2019. Now, I'm sure you must have noticed the Power Summit photo that we have. The logo for the Power Summit 2019 has been chosen for many options. It has been developed by the creative mind of a young Nepali who aspires to live in a prosperous and well-governed country that is at peace, which is the thought of a lot of Nepali people. Nepal aspires to power the Asian century and sees this as a win-win for all. Now, to continue with the inaugural session, I'd like to request for her speech the Chief Investment Officer of FMO, Linda Broekhuizen.
So welcome everybody. Mr. President of IPAN, His Excellency Ambassador of India to Nepal, the Honorable Minister of State for Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, the Honorable Minister of Economic Affairs of the Royal Government of Bhutan, the Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation of the Government of Nepal, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense, and the Vice President of IPAN of the Independent Power Producers Organization of Nepal. And honorable guests, thank you very much for being here. The theme of this summit is very relevant. The importance of hydropower for the region is clear. There is more energy needed with a growing population in the region. There is more clean energy needed with the high air pollution nodes in the region. Thank you. And a jointly coordinated regional approach is very important. Nepal has a huge potential for hydropower. The overall potential could go up to 80,000 megawatts. This could bring Nepal to one of the top 10 countries in the world producing hydropower. There's an ambitious target to develop 15,000 megawatts in the next 10 years. The larger part can be exported as clean energy to countries like India and Bangladesh. Nepal needs international finance to develop the hydropower sector. Local funding is available for less than 5,000 megawatts. Foreign direct investments will be needed to finance the remainder of the production. Investments in cross-border transmission and distributions will be crucial. And a precondition for prosperous Nepal and happy Nepali is project development in an environmentally and socially sustainable way by creating local jobs and based on occupational health and safety best practices, through inclusion of local and indigenous communities, and with preservation of the country's biodiversity. Development banks like FMO and, for example, IFC can play a catalyzing role to mobilize more international investors, to share our knowledge and network in the region. For example, FMO invests in India, in Bangladesh, and in Nepal, in the energy and in the financial institution sectors. And FMO has already invested directly and indirectly more than 325 megawatts in Nepal. And lastly, we also can play a catalyzing role to implement international best practices in the local context. We highly support, together also with other development banks like FMO and IFC, the ENS Joint Environmental and Social Joint Sector Statements, which will be signed tomorrow by IPAN and the Bankers Association. We look forward to powering the Asian century together with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, the Independent Power Producers Association of Nepal is a non-governmental, not-for-profit umbrella organization of private power developers. IPAN advocates for national energy security, creating conducive environment for private sector participation in the energy sector, as well as for the capacity building of its members. Within a period of 2 decades, IPAN members have been able to contribute almost 55% of the total generation capacity of Nepal. And in the coming days, IPAN looks forward to augmenting power generation in Nepal and spearheading regional trade of electricity. Moving forward, I would now like to invite on stage for his speech the country manager of World Bank Nepal, Mr. Faris Echhadad Havos.
Good afternoon. Good morning, actually. You can tell how early I started my day. Good morning. Honorable ministers, respected secretaries, respected leadership of IPAN, Excellency, Ambassador and Ambassadors, Ambassador on the dais and ambassadors on the stage, friends, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me start by thanking the leadership of IPAN and IPAN for putting together, for bringing us all here for a very important topic at a very important and very, very critical time. On behalf of the World Bank, it's really an honor to be speaking at the Power Summit 2019 amongst Nepal's movers and shakers of the energy sector storyline. Nepal has shown that with commitment and action, it is possible to bend the curve in the country's energy sector, a success that Nepal can truly be proud of. In 2 decades, access to electricity for the Nepali population jumped from 25% to 94% with an end to residential and industrial load shedding. In Nepal, energy is no longer a constraint, but one of the drivers for socioeconomic growth. It goes without saying that without energy, promoting economic growth, overcoming poverty, and supporting human development are challenging, if not absolutely impossible. Energy is not only a pillar of delivery of services and the aspirations of the people of Nepal, but a key source of Nepal's future growth storyline. In Nepal, the development of energy and hydropower infrastructure will help develop skills and create thousands of jobs for workers and professionals, improve local roads, promote industry, and develop local financial markets. Moreover, the economics of exporting hydropower from Nepal to India and to Bangladesh and onward to the regional market are compelling and create a strong foundation for a regional electricity market which can bring about benefits for all participants involved. To realize these enormous opportunities, between 1.3 billion and 2.1 billion annual investment is needed in the electricity sector, compared to the current 500 million that we see per annum today. This requires, of course, a concerted approach to finding ways of maximizing finance for development and crowding in the private sector, which in and of itself requires a broader ecosystem, not just 1 or 2 or 3 laws, regulations, and most importantly, practices in the sector, but an overall sense of an ecosystem that is conducive to private sector entry, growth, and vivacity. The recent signing of the financing agreement of Upper Trishuli 1 is an important milestone for Nepal in this regard, representing one of Nepal's largest ever foreign direct investments, and we are all extremely happy about that. As a partner in Nepal's development, the World Bank's strategy in the power sector is to support the government of Nepal's vision to provide quality energy services to each and everyone. We've been collaborating with the government and the private sector in strengthening generation, transmission, and distribution, and improving the governance and financial viability of the sector through reforms. And this is an area where not only the World Bank, but all the development partners, bilateral partners, everyone has been engaged, and we're very grateful to be part of that group. Friends, let me just end with a couple of points, and that is that this year the World Bank celebrates 50 years of the first IDA credit to Nepal, which was actually in 1969 in the telecom sector. And we join our development partners in our continued commitment to support Nepal's growth trajectory. The vision of a prosperous Nepal and a happy Nepali could not be clearer, with a commitment to walk the talk in the path towards achieving middle-income country status in 2030. We cannot, of course, expect this road to be without bumps, to be without hurdles, because none of us have actually claimed to come from a country that did not experience hurdles in the process. But what is required, I think, is here, and I think this is one of the key manifestations of it. A vision by the government that is long-term, that is focusing on the longer development arc, and the presence of EPAN and others, and the private sector that also see in this horizon much opportunity to not only achieve profitable business, but actually contribute to the country's very much deserved development. I also take pride in launching the Nepal Beyond Connections report in today's August gathering, which details the results of the multi-tier framework survey in Nepal, including the status and challenges ahead for access to electricity and modern cooking solutions in the country, and we will do that later. Let me end by expressing my sincere thanks to EPAN for having us and including us in this session, and we look forward to future collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faris. Now, to set the tone for the two-day Power Summit 2019, I take this opportunity to announce the launch of a very special report titled Nepal Beyond Connections. The report is based on a survey of 6,000 households conducted by the World Bank in 2017. And this is the first time that a survey has tracked the quality of electricity access across households in Nepal beyond connections. Before we unveil the report, let's take a look at a short video on Nepal's energy sector.
Nepal has a potential of generating 80,000 megawatts of hydroelectricity. 43,000 megawatts of this is economically feasible. For a country rich in water resources, the potential for hydropower is huge. Nepal currently produces 1,083 megawatts of electricity. Within 10 years, the country hopes to produce up to 15,000 megawatts for both in-country use and exports. This is a dramatic turnaround for a country that once struggled constantly from power outages. Its sole electricity authority ran a decade of continuous losses. While reforms in the energy sector began in the 1990s, the game changer came in 2016 with the government declaring 2016 to 2026 as the National Energy Crisis Reduction and Electricity Development Decade. Progressive measures, efficient management, and newly added energy infrastructure helped create an impressive turnaround in the energy sector. Nepal successfully ended residential load shedding since early 2017 and industrial load shedding since early 2018. Nepal Electricity Authority declared profits for the first time in 10 years in 2017 and reduced system losses by 10%. By 2017, 71.7% of Nepali households had electricity from the national grid and 23% were connected to off-grid sources. Clean fuel stoves are becoming more prevalent, with 26.3% of households using LPG stoves and 2% using biogas. Considering Nepal was unable to meet up to 20% of its electricity demand from 2008 to 2016, this is an outstanding achievement. The goal on the horizon is to provide electricity services to everyone in the country in 3 years. And while the country's energy potential is immense, the road ahead will require concerted efforts from all the parties involved. Energy sector reforms to improve legal and regulatory environments will enable the vast investments needed, quadrupling the current investments. With technical prowess, management efforts, and policy support working hand in hand, Nepal could be well on its way to becoming an energy-sufficient and energy-exporting nation, while truly giving power to its people in a federal Nepal. World Bank Group is proud to partner with the Government of Nepal, development partners, private sector and communities to support energy sector reforms and infrastructure in achieving this vision.
That was Nepal Beyond Connections. And now I'd like to request our Honorable Chief Guest of the Power Summit to launch the Nepal Beyond Connections report. I would also like to request the Country Manager of World Bank for Nepal, Mr. Faris Haddad, to assist him. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Nepal Beyond Connections. Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll also find the brochure of the report in your event kit. and which includes a link to download the full report as well. Now, moving on, I'd like to invite for his speech His Excellency Ambassador of India to Nepal, Manjeev Singh Puri.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Your Excellencies on the dais, if I have your permission, could I ask them to please turn off these lights? I don't know about all of you, sir, but I'd really like to see the people who we are addressing here. Your Excellency, the Chief Guest, Honorable Minister for Energy, Water Affairs, Mr. Barsman Pun, Honorable Ministers from Bangladesh and Bhutan, my colleagues from the World Bank, I'm very delighted to see the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps here with us, Madam Ambassador, welcome here. Champions of the Power Summit, IPAN, the IFC, and I want to add from India, various people, the Ministry of Power, CERC, SJVNL, GMR, NHPC, and Mr. Sahi, who's really been the champion for all of this in India. Very great to see you all, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. Ladies and gentlemen, the claps are due for IPAN, and I shall ask you to, thank you very much. They are not only the people who are actually doing it, they are people who want to demonstrate that they can do it and bring about a change. This is the first time this hall is meeting in this direction. Well done, Mr. Gurgai. For many of you who are from outside, you won't appreciate this. But traditionally, if you just look, the stage is at the other end. They have vowed that they will bring about change. For someone like me, who is an absolute convinced believer that without the use of modern energy services, and particularly electric power, no country is going to be able to see a betterment of the quality of life in its people. This is perhaps one of the most welcome decisions, and the fact that you say you're on the cusp of taking the decisions to enhance and utilize Nepal's tremendous hydropower potential. To IPAN, a very, very big set of congratulations from my side, and to you, Honorable Minister, all power to your elbows, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to speak here. I believe the main reason for this is quite simple and straightforward. And that is that India is undoubtedly the most relevant, sincere, and reliable player in Nepal's hydropower sector. Indeed, sir, the only major project in all sectors which is currently being undertaken in Nepal is the Arun 3 project led by SJVNL, started just a year, slightly more than a year back. It's already showing significant progress, and this is despite various hurdles which we all need to overcome. So I really believe that the tide has turned and Nepal wants to truly harness its hydropower. I might add, sir, that it's really important that this time is not lost sight of. Hydropower is facing challenges that it has never faced in the past before, particularly challenges of the cost economics, which are tending to go against hydropower. And therefore, if you want to power, let alone Asia of the next century, but Nepal and its neighborhood in the coming years and decades ahead, sir, you need to move ahead, and you need to move ahead real fast and real quick and in real time. In this context, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the grandest and the biggest of possibilities here, and that is on the Mahakali River, the Pancheshwar project. At about 5,000 megawatts, its abilities to bring about game-changing situations in Nepal, not only in terms of electric power generation, but in terms of the economic development of the country. My country, India, and perhaps the region, is absolutely unsurpassed. Honorable Minister, all powers to your elbows for that. We on our side too hope that our people are strongly empowered and we are able to take all of this forward. Mr. President of IPAN, thank you very much for providing a very special opportunity today for NHPC to sign a letter of exchange with the Hydroelectricity Investment and Development Company Limited of Nepal. I believe this is a very special moment. NHPC is by far India's largest hydropower producer and perhaps the most important player in our entire region as far as hydropower is concerned. Bringing them on board in Nepal, I believe, should be game-changing and positively game-changing. So thank you very much for making this possible. I also want to congratulate you for signing a letter of exchange between yourself and IEX, the energy exchange in India, because I believe nothing is going to move forward unless we have proper commercialization, we have the involvement of the private sector, and indeed, we have the involvement of the ordinary investor. That is the way things are going to go forward. If the ordinary people are going to benefit, the ordinary people need to become investors. Private sector is required. Government has its role to play. But the people whose monies are there, they really need to put their monies from their wallets to where their mouths are. And that's really a matter of great congratulations to you, sir. Usually, Mr. President, whenever I get a chance to speak on energy, most of the conversations are focused on the issue of generation, power generation. And we speak in terms of large projects. Today, too, I've referred to two of them. I've drawn attention to GMR's presence here with Upper Karnali. But I also want to draw your attention to the cross-border transmission and the powering that has been going on in terms of India and Nepal for decades, in fact, at smaller levels, in regional levels, but now on far larger scale. There are around 30 small or large cross-border transmission lines between India and Nepal. Not many here in the room would be aware of that. But anybody who is familiar with the terrain at the India-Nepal border would certainly expect this to be the scene. With the development of the Dhalkebar-Muzaffarpur line, India today is supplying close to 600 megawatts of electricity at very economical tariff to Nepal. It meets close to 50% of Nepal's peak demand and almost 90% of Nepal's dry season generation, sir. I sincerely hope that the infrastructure required at your site, sir, or at Dhalkebar would be completed so that the line can be charged to 400 kV and can then carry up to 1,000 megawatts. Let me also say that I'm very happy that both our countries have made significant progress insofar as the Gorakhpur-Butwal 400 kV line is concerned. I am particularly happy also that the modalities of funding this line are purely based on commercial basis, and that, I believe, is what is going to give it inherent strength for this particular project to truly go forward. As far as India is concerned, our lines of credit are also financing two other critical electricity corridors, the Kosi corridor and the Solu corridor. We hope to see much progress on this in the coming months. And under the LOC program, India has also extended a soft loan to the Nepal Electricity Authority for the development of the 30 megawatt Rahu Ghat HEP. Mr. President of IPAN, Your Excellency, the Chief Guest, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to stand in front of you and to highlight to you how important Nepal's development of the electricity sector, in particular hydroelectric power, means to us in India. Sir, in your objective of a prosperous Nepal and a happy Nepali, Samrid Nepal and a Khushi Nepali, lies vested interest for my country, India. I want to wish you all progress in that direction, and I believe that we all have win-win situations ahead for us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was definitely energizing and powerful at the same time. Now, after many years of facing energy shortage, Nepal is presently well on its way to being an energy surplus nation in the coming year. Projects with over 2,500 megawatt capacity are under construction. 2,900 megawatt capacity projects are ready for construction. Similarly, projects with about 18,000 megawatt 18,000 megawatt capacity are under study. Further, with high capacity interconnection links with India combined with the government of India's liberal policies for cross-border electricity trade, regional energy trading is now a distinct possibility. Energy banking is already a reality. Nepal and India are currently discussing further high capacity connectivity for bulk power trade, and Bangladesh has expressed interest in in purchasing power from Nepal, as well as for investing in Nepal's hydropower. Now, in this regard, I'd like to invite for his keynote speech, Honorable Minister of State for Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, Nasrul Hamed.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to you all. Chief Guest, Excellency, Mr. Bashamun Pun, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation. Mr. Loknath Sharman, Honorable Minister of Economic Affairs, Royal Government of Bhutan, Honorable Ambassador from Bangladesh, India, and President of IPAN, Honorable Gentlemen, ladies, and of course, good friends from Nepal and the private sectors. A very good morning to you all. Our Indian ambassador want to see less light in the dais, but what I see, it becomes opposite. We can see the less light in the audience, actually, it happened. So, power is always with the powerful people, what I understand in the dais. It is indeed a pleasure and honor for me to be here as the keynote speaker. Among the who's who of power, energy, and hydropower resources and overall nation building of South Asia. I have a long-standing relationship with Mr. Bashamun Pun, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources, and Irrigation. And it feels amazing to acquaint with all the other respected guests and international resources persons. Let me also extend thanks to the Independent Power Producer Associations, Nepal, IPPN, for organizing this summit. The August occasion of Power Summit 2019 reminds me of BBIN, the Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal initiative, a milestone sub-regional consensus focusing connectivity, not only in power, but also in other areas of cooperation like transport, infrastructure, water resources, management, etc. The farsightedness of the leaders of this sub-region has helped us to come this far. Special thanks to Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Prime Minister of India, and of course, I must also mention the contribution of Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She has always been one of the keenest proponents of regional and sub-regional cooperation. The openness we show now with regard to cross-border trade might not have been a reality without her visionary leadership. Now we all know what Bangladesh has achieved and continuing to achieve due to Sheikh Hasina's leadership. When the Awami League government came to power in 2008, the power energy sector in Bangladesh was in shambles. Though sheer willpower, we gradually upgraded our power coverage to 95% from 47% in 2009, which is poised to hit 100% within 2021. In my humble opinion, we have hit that technological, operational baseline from which we can build. We have ensured our people availability and reliability. Now it's time to look for affordability. In this affordability part, which is also shared with all the South Asian nations, cross-border power trading is a very important part. We have seen that cross-border power is very affordable for us. Under bilateral, trilateral, we took almost 1,160 megawatt from India. Last year when I came here for ministerial meeting, Bangladesh signed an MOU with Nepal for cooperation in power sector. After that, 2 joint working and joint steering committee meeting took place. Consequently, the tariff and terms and condition of PPA with GMR has been finalized for importation of 500 megawatt hydropower from 900 megawatt Upper Karnal hydropower project of Nepal. I believe this is a remarkable achievement in terms of mutual cooperation in this sub-region. We know Nepal and Bhutan in their own capacity are working in bilateral trade deals with India. As a necessary steps towards a more cohesive cooperation, we need to look into tri- and multilateral agreements. The political will, bureaucratic process, and regulatory risks sometimes seems to be too high to consider. Especially in new fields like this, we need to identify quick wins and milestones. For example, working on a common grid code, sharing knowledge and transmission technologies, working commonly on a regional power mix. India is quickly becoming a renewable powerhouse, and Bangladesh, as a signatory of the Paris Accord, is realizing challenges in growing its renewable portfolio. Therein lies a gap which we can work on. When experts are on the table, talking in sessions like this, thousands of ideas will come up. And it's our duty as the policymaker to make things happen. The benefits of a large corporation is not unknown. To us, in academic studies, power sharing has been shown not only to foster a great trade balances, but more cohesive geopolitical integration leading to more friendship between the nations. Just look at the sum of the power sharing regions, Central European, Scandinavian countries, ASEAN, we can see they are progressing massively with hands in hand. As a region, South Asians have predated themselves in the long shared history and our amazing diversity. But that pride has often or not been translated into an economic advantages. In my humble opinion, opening up the region for power sharing will change the economic fortunes of the region. Dry season supports to Nepal and Bhutan. Peak load season support and renewable energy sharing with Bangladesh. Sharing power energy resources with the 7 sisters in India. There are opportunities unbound. And in exercising these opportunities, we'll find what we really envision, a stronger South Asia. The wealth and topics of the panels today give me a great hope. Really, I could not have picked any better. I hope the wealth of knowledge could be disseminated with your peers and counterparts from all over South Asia. Knowledge is the key to unlocking all our next steps. And to my colleagues and compatriots in the policymaker side, even if you harbor a doubt on what we can achieve, let me quote from the great leader Nelson Mandela, quote, "It always seems impossible until it's done," unquote. Finally, I once again express my heartfelt thanks to IPPAN for making such a meaningful occasion a reality. The contribution of the Ambassador of Bangladesh in Nepal, His Excellency Ms. Mashfia Binti Shams, can be overstated. And I must also congratulate her for her endeavors. Thank you, everyone. Long live South Asia Corporation. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangamundra.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The rate of economic growth in Asia is very encouraging and needs to be sustained with a regular supply of clean, green energy that is affordable and reliable. Nepal also sits on a huge potential that can be developed only if we leverage investments and open new markets across Asia. Nepal sees this as a situation, as a natural win-win for all. We have the resource and Asia has the market and ability to invest. Now, powering the Asian century sounds ambitious, futuristic, and exciting at the same time. It will motivate all of us to work together because everyone stands to benefit. We need a shared vision for prosperity for Asia, and Nepal is positioning itself to contribute. To continue with our inaugural session, and now I'd like to invite our guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Economic Affairs, Royal Government of Bhutan, for his speech. Loknath Sharma.
Thank you. Kuzampo, good morning and namaste. Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation Nepal, Mr. Versman Poon as the chief guest. Honorable Minister of State for Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Bangladesh, Mr. Nasrul Hamid. Honorable Minister of Water Resources, India, who is not here, sorry. President IPAN, Mr. Guragaon, ambassadors, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's my indeed pleasure to be here at this 2019 Power Summit and an honor to join this platform with ministers from Bangladesh, Nepal, and India, and other delegates, as well as other dignitaries, not only from this region, but across the globe, representing the world, various national, international, and private entities. In my opinion, this Power Summit is being held at an opportune and apt time, especially in the context of what is now possible within the region. Exciting new developments are pushing through, and we find ourselves in a situation where there seems to be a willingness from all fronts to enter into mutually beneficial regional power trade transcending borders. Our region had made tremendous achievements in economic integration since the inception of SAARC. However, much remains to be done, and the power sector offers the potential to integrate our countries, as the supplementary of our trade structures can be overcome by the complementary of our energy endowments. It's established that electricity is highly correlated with GDP of a country and its population. The South Asian region is experiencing impressive GDP growth rate, which is among the highest and fastest in the world. To fuel the growing economy, it's expected that power demand will keep growing as population increases and living standards improve. Efforts to meet the demands as imperative for any country or imperative for any country globally, electrification rate has been rising, but even now, 840 million people across the world is reportedly still without access to electricity. That is sad, isn't it? However, adding generation capacities is just one way to address the issues. What is required is electricity that has quality, that's reliable and sustainable is much more important. Energy productivity is improving world over due to various efforts put under the duress of climate change threats and the concerns of depletion of conventional resources. However, energy intensity in the South Asian region remains very high if we compare to some other countries. So from a regional perspective, we have energy excess issues, low energy productivity, and a growing demand fueled by growing economy and population. Well, each country is making efforts to address the issues in the context of its own domestic demand and economic development. There is a clear indication that the countries in this region can come together to find a mutually beneficial solution through diversification of energy resources, grid integration, and innovative trade partnerships. The electricity demand and supply scenarios especially in the BBIN region, are so diverse. But if regional integration is achieved, the diversity could provide complementary benefits of having balancing power, peaking support at reasonable rates, and thereby ensuring uninterrupted quality power supply in the region. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, in case of Bhutan, we are a small country sharing borders with India and China, one of the powers in this world. While we lack fossil fuel resources of significant amount, we are endowed with abundant hydropower resources. Bhutan's hydropower potential, though much below what is indicative of Nepal, it's around 30,000 megawatt, but we have harnessed 8% of it, and 99% of electrification is achieved through grid electrification. Every home is lighted now. That is the power to make our rural people, our poor people, happy. We have currently around 2,326 megawatt, all finished, all done. Around 2,220 megawatt under constructions through G2G cooperation between India and Bhutan. Thank you, India, for your cooperation always. And most promisingly, we are coming out with another hydropower of 2,585, which is called Suncoast hydroelectric power. After meeting the domestic demand, we export all of the surplus power to India, and revenue generation from export of power is one of the main sources of revenue for this Himalayan country. Hydropower in Bhutan is the mainstream energy resource and is the backbone of our economy. Thank you once again, my neighbor. Bhutan, like the rest of the South Asian countries, is also growing rapidly. And to sustain the growing economy, ensuring energy security is of paramount importance. However, due to climate change threats to which hydropower resource is most sensitive to, and Bhutan being almost entirely dependent on water resource for electricity generation, faces a unique challenge. Nonetheless, similar situations, but with different energy mix scenarios, are faced by our neighboring countries too. Nepal, where hydropower resource is abundant; India, which is increasingly moving towards renewable energy and predominantly today fossil fuel driven, and Bangladesh looking for more. At a glance, it seems that a win-win modality is an obvious solution within the region. The nonsense of hydropower being abandoned during wet season when demand is lowest in Bhutan, and generation being lowest during dry season when the domestic demand is the highest, is actually well matched with our closest neighbors' power needs, where demand is the highest during wet seasons. Classic example though, trade in energy must be preceded by infrastructure development, and Indo-Bhutan cooperation offers an example of what can be done and what needs to be done to integrate our region. Another opportunity is the hydropower's capacity to provide balancing power and for energy storage capability, with water reservoirs acting as huge battery bank, which is also green and clean. Bhutan and Nepal can emerge as the battery bank of electricity of South Asia, fueling the economic growth of our larger, more industrial neighbors. Therefore, considering the diversity in demand in the region and the equally diverse resources available, it's inevitable that we should all come together to achieve regional connectivity and integrated power trade. One of the key developments, especially for the region, has been the revised guidelines issued by India in 2018 for the cross-border import-export of electricity. We are grateful that India took this initiative to provide enabling environment for cross-border electricity trade transcending single border. Now the efforts must be on how to operationalize it without further impediments for the larger benefits of the region. Thank you, India, for your neighbor-first policy. We look up to India to lead the way on this front. For developing a common energy market, our region needs to address not only the physical infrastructure requirements, but also develop policy and regulatory frameworks that enable a seamless development of the energy market to everyone's mutual benefit. As I said, hydropower is considered the backbone of the witness economy. However, we are also looking at diversifying resources to enhance energy security and at the same time diversifying the economy. For example, industrial port development, heavy industrial estates and parks, as electricity access and cost will continue to remain as one of the lowest in the region in Bhutan. Importantly, may I also mention that we would like to achieve all this economic development without meaning much harm to the environment. Bhutan is carbon neutral, and we do commit to remain carbon neutral for some time, may not be always, but our constitution mandates that we should be always carbon neutral. We are carbon negative now. We will remain carbon negative for some time more. But the Constitution mandates us to remain at least neutral. That is why Constitution mandates that 60% of our land remains as forest cover. That we humbly commit to that Constitution and we will maintain. Well, Bhutan has more installed capacity than Nepal, but we can still learn from development of Nepal's supply industry for the hydropower sector, ranging from local human resource skills available for energy consultancies to domestic manufacturing capabilities for production of ancillaries such as electric transformers to wires to capabilities in the execution of small-scale power projects. Bhutan has benefited from Nepal's development of domestic supply capabilities in the hydropower sector, and such complementarities remain a shining example of what regional cooperation can achieve in our region. We can learn from each other. That's the strength of our cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, we can accommodate and share, and it's important to note that the region should make collective efforts to ensure affordability, reliability, and quality power supply. If I may cite an UNESCO report published last year, national policymakers face an energy trilemma of ensuring energy security, affordability, and sustainability. Therefore, greater connectivity can play a key role in solving this trilemma. It can help deliver an increased supply of electricity, provide enhanced energy security by diversifying supply, reduce costs through arbitrage and economies of scale, tap into underexploited energy resources like hydropower, and allow greater use of variable energy through balancing generation over larger pooled areas. Friends and neighbors, a study undertaken by ADP, Asian Development Bank, in the past estimates total benefit of over $4 billion annually for the whole region from enhanced energy trade. So why wait? Further, with the urgency to mitigate the effects of climate change, Nepal and Bhutan's clean energy offers the scope to replace electricity generated from fossil fuels. In brief, integrating the South Asian power grid is an imperative for a sustainable and low-carbon future. Benefits of regional power grid integration are clear, and yet the process on part of all our countries has been slow. Cautious must give way to optimism and hope. Well, things don't end there, and what's important is the will and convergence of thoughts and ideas. It seems we are already there. Therefore, I would like to end here with my heartfelt gratitude to the Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation, Government of Nepal, and the Independent Power Producers Association Nepal, IPAN, for hosting this event. Finally, before I end, please take Bhutan as your next destination to visit, invest, and learn. It offers you unique opportunity and challenges, making it worth. I mean it, and we mean it. आज यस उपस्थितिमा आउनुभएका मन्त्रीज्यू र महानुभाव सबैलाई यो खुसी नेपालमा आएर हजुरहरू सबैलाई धन्यवाद। मलाई यो मौका दिनुभएकोमा पनि धन्यवाद। Chashidele, and thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, our guest of honor, Honorable Minister of Economic Affairs, Royal Government of Bhutan, Loknath Sharma Sir. And now may I request Abhay Kumar Singh, the Executive Director of NHPC Limited India, and Chaviraj Pokhrel, CEO HIDCL Nepal, to kindly do the honors for exchanging of letters to work jointly for hydropower development in Nepal. So today at the inaugural session, we have two agreements being signed. One is this one between NHPC Limited India and HIDCL Nepal. Meantime, may we request all the delegates and the participants present here today to please keep your mobile phones on silent. Thank you very much. And if you haven't downloaded the app as well, please do download the app of Power Summit 2019. Congratulations and best wishes to NHPC Limited India and HIDCL Nepal on jointly working together for hydropower development in Nepal. And now may I request Ashish Garg, Managing Director of Nepal Power Exchange Limited, and Rajesh Medirata, Director of Indian Energy Exchange Limited, to come on the stage for signing of MOU between Nepal Power Exchange Limited and Indian Energy Exchange for development of power trading between India and Nepal. So Indian Energy Exchange Limited is the first and largest energy exchange in India and provides a nationwide automated platform for physical delivery of electricity. With more than 6,500 participants, Indian Energy Exchange pioneered the development of power trading in India and now has 6,500 participants in power market. Nepal Power Exchange is Nepal's first private sector power trading company established by a conglomerate of leading hydropower developers in Nepal with a cooperation arrangement with Independent Power Producers Association Nepal. It has obtained the rights to trade energy generated by hydropower projects of 600 megawatt capacity and is seeking approval and trading arrangements in India and Bangladesh. In the years ahead, Nepal Power Exchange Limited intends to set up an electricity platform in Nepal for domestic and regional trade. Congratulations and best wishes to Nepal Power Exchange Limited and Indian Energy Exchange for the development of power trading between India and Nepal. And now, moving on, I'd like to invite for the main address by the chief guest, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation, Government of Nepal, Barsaman Pun.
Mr. Chairman, Excellency Minister from Bangladesh and Bhutan, high-level dignitaries, friends, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Right Honorable Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, let me first of all extend our heartily welcome to you all in this August gathering being organized by independent power producers of Nepal. I feel honored to take part and speak in the inaugural session of this Power Summit 2019 with a central theme of powering Asian century. As I perceive, powering Asian century embraces the sustainable use of energy available in our region to boost economy of the region. In case of Nepal, we envision Nepal to be an enterprise-friendly middle-income country by 2030. By continuously pursuing to meet the target of SDG 7, among others. I would like to stress here that the UN tools to meet the global SDG 7 targets are broadly aligned with our country-specific vision and plans. Excellencies, while 88% of population have access to electricity through grid and off-grid solutions, the per capita consumption of the electricity amounts to only 245 kilowatt hours. Out of our total techno-economically viable hydro potential of around 43 gigawatt, we have developed only about 1,226 megawatt so far, which is less than our current peak demand of 1,320 megawatt. But we have already accelerated to pace of hydropower development, not only to meet our own demand, but also to complement electricity need at bilateral, sub-regional, and regional levels. We are adding 1,000 megawatt this year in our national power system. Since 1992, the government of Nepal has adopted a policy for the optimum utilization of water resources to generate hydroelectricity through private sector involvement. This policy has been instrumental in attracting foreign private sector investment from India, Norway, USA, China, South Korea, etc. With that initiative, presently more than 5,000 megawatt capacity of various hydropower projects are in different stages of construction. In the next 4 years, electricity generation is expected to reach 5-fold of current installed capacity of our country. Recently, conclusion of financing agreement of 216 megawatt Upper Trishuli 1, promoted by Korean investors, MOU on 756 megawatt of Tomor and 156 megawatt of Madi hydropower project between Power China and HIDCL are some of the examples of private sector involvement in power sector. Likewise, we are evaluating the proposal on development of Lower Arun hydropower project of 679 megawatt, West City of 750 megawatt, and SR6 of 450 megawatt. It is in this context I congratulate and appreciate the contribution and continuous efforts extended by IPAN and its members in achieving government's target related to electricity development in country. In May 2018, we released a white paper on current situation and future roadmap for energy, water resources, and irrigation sector. We have set a target to generate 15,000 megawatt of electricity, including other renewables, in 10 years to increase per capita electricity consumption to 1,500 kilowatt hour. Out of this target, we intend to set aside 5,000 megawatt of electricity for cross-border power trade. within next 3 years, we intend to achieve the target of electricity access to all in the country. Friends, due to our regionally varying supply and demand pattern of the individual countries in the South Asia region, the complementarity of generating resource available in the region must be utilized to optimize our power systems and reduce price of electricity. It is in this context, development of hydropower project in Nepal can be considered as a battery storage facility for the system stabilization of the region. A joint initiative in this front will be required at the regional or sub-regional level for the creation of a viable, profitable, and competitive power sector as our common destination in future. We have been moving forward in creating the necessary infrastructure to further enhance the executing of the power trade agreement signed between Nepal and India. In comment, the spirit of cooperation expressed from both Nepal and India at various forums. The cross-border electricity interconnection between the countries needs to be expanded to a new level, which will ultimately enhance the trading of electricity at regional and sub-regional level. Furthermore, we have working together to utilize the seasonal complementarities of electricity demand and supply of Nepal and India through energy banking. Ladies and gentlemen, in the spirit of SAARC Framework Agreement for Energy Cooperation, we have also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Bangladesh for cooperation in power sector. This understanding covers the areas of power export, joint investment, capacity building, and so on. Likewise, we need to graduate from bilateral cooperation to sub-regional cooperation in the form of BBIN. In fact, we shall now even be working together to establish an inter-regional electricity grid interconnection, as envisaged in the MOU signed by the BIMSTEC member countries. In views of running our domestic power industry in a competitive manner, the governments, generation and transmission companies, along with Nepal Power Trading Company, are already been established. The Electricity Regulatory Commission has also been established and is already operational. Mr. Chair, despite possibles to harness a lot of hydro and other clean renewable resources in the region, we continue to rely largely on fossil fuels, much of which is imported. Over-dependence on coal or diesel-based thermal energy is also a serious concern from the point of view of environmental degradation and global warming. The multi-purpose use of our water resources through reservoir projects will have the potential to contribute not only to the electricity demand of the countries in the region, but also neighboring countries could benefit from drinking water, irrigation, flood control, and navigation. In addition, the water reservoir-based multi-purpose projects could be one of the adaptation measures for the ever increasing threat of the climate change, which has direct bearing on the water resource availability. Ladies and gentlemen, what matters most in our commitment to the process and our willingness to work together with broader perspectives for the sake of our common benefit. Let us not to be left behind. Let us demonstrate to other regions in the world that we too can establish a successful model of collaboration in the power sector and enter into an era of regional power trading through cross-border grid connectivity. This is how we need to pursue our serious efforts in the order to realize our agenda for Asian century for tomorrow with common understanding that energy security of our region or sub-region lies in being interdependent rather than trying to become self-reliant. Lastly, I hope that this today's summit will be very fruitful and productive. I wish every delegate a memorable stay in Kathmandu. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Guest, for providing energy and giving us your time and being with us today at the Power Summit 2019, Powering the Asian Century. And now I'd like to invite and request the Vice President of IPAN, Kumar Pandey, for the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, guests, friends, and well-wishers of IPAN. I feel greatly honored to address this August gathering to deliver a vote of thanks. At the outset, though, please allow me to talk briefly about this summit. Oftentimes, we are asked what the Power Summits have delivered and what we expect this one to achieve. Power Summit 2019 is the 7th edition of Power Summits organized by IPAN. The previous summits were focused around creating a conducive environment for hydropower development in Nepal. For example, the 5th Power Summit of 2013 talked about hastening the pace of hydropower development, whereas the 6th Power Summit of 2016 deliberated upon ways of developing 10,000 megawatt in 10 years, which was the target set by the government of Nepal then. Both those summits were focused on developing energy within Nepal. We can look back today with a lot of satisfaction and say unequivocally that Nepal in general, but more particularly the private sector of Nepal, has made tremendous progress in power generation. We are now confident that Nepal is going to be self-sufficient in energy and is in a situation where it has to seek markets beyond our borders. This brings us to this 7th Power Summit. In the last 3 years, there have been tremendous changes in our sector. As I just mentioned, Nepal is now at the verge of being an energy surplus nation, a far cry from the days of 18 hours of load shedding. We constructed one major high voltage cross-border line, the trade through which has directly been responsible for the eradication of load shedding. Likewise, we have agreed to build more such lines with the intention of cross-border trade for many years to come. Nepal and India are working on synchronizing our power systems, advancing towards making a single grid system. In 2018, India republished its cross-border electricity trade regulations and guidelines. The same year, Government of Nepal and Government of Bangladesh signed the MOU to cooperate in the field of power sector. Both India and Bangladesh have expressed the desire to invest in Nepal's hydro sector and import energy from Nepal. Bangladesh, Nepal, and India have agreed to set up a tripartite mechanism to help facilitate trade of electricity. And very importantly, the establishment of Electricity Regulatory Commission in Nepal, which is essential to regulate cross-border trade, has now set the stage for cross-border trade in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, building upon all that has been achieved, this summit aims to create the required platform for all the experts in the region, from the governmental as well as the non-governmental sector, to deliberate on the critical issues and provide a vision and work plan which we can adopt and move forward with. We truly believe that trade of clean and reliable electricity from Nepal to our neighboring countries will be beneficial for all of us. Bhutan has been a shining example, showing how clean and reliable hydropower is a tradable commodity and how it can positively impact the country's economy. We believe this summit will be viewed by posterity as a milestone event that opened up opportunities for future generations. Now, let me move on to thank and express my appreciation for those of you that have made this event possible. There are several groups of people I wish to thank at this early stage of Power Summit 2019. I wish to first thank the Honorable Chief Guests, the Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, Ministers from abroad, Ambassadors, and keynote speakers, and the dignitaries on the stage for affording your valuable time and thoughts and gracing this inaugural session. Your presence is sheer inspiration for all of us. Secondly, I wish to thank all the participants. You represent energy experts, energy companies, promoters, builders, engineers, bankers, and managers. Some of you have even offered to serve as panelists, moderators, or paper presenters. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for participating. For those of you from abroad, we hope you have a pleasant stay in Nepal. I especially want to recognize the sponsors. As a not-for-profit organization with limited means, IPAN is grateful to all the private and public sponsors that have helped us financially and in kind to make the summit a success. This includes our development partners as well. Without your generous contribution, this event would not have been possible. I also take this opportunity to thank the media who have been with us from the very beginning, helping us get the word out about the summit. Your help has been deeply appreciated. Last but not the least, I wish to thank the IPAN members, executive committee members, and colleagues in the Secretariat who have worked untiringly for the past 8 months to bring this program to this stage. The effort required to put together a summit of this scale is hard to imagine unless you have been an integral part of it. My most sincere thanks to you all. Finally, we look forward to all of your active participation in the next 2 days. We have put together a program that is very much focused and yet very diverse. There is a lot to achieve in the short time we have. In addition to the discussions, I hope we can create formal and informal alliances which can help build trust and open communication amongst us as we strive forward to achieve regional prosperity through seamless trade of electricity in the region. Thank you for providing your time and expertise to make the Power Summit 2019 a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now with this, we've come to the end of inaugural session. Thank you everyone for being with us. Thank you to our chief guests and all our distinguished guests. Do remember that our next session starts at 11:20, which is powering the regional market. For this session, I'd like to request the speakers and the panels to please proceed towards the holding room. Okay, can we have a group photo with all our distinguished VIP guests on the stage, please? We have a tea break of about 20 minutes, which is outside at the Rose Garden Manjari area. Please do proceed towards that area and be back here at 11:20. Thank you, everyone.